We hadn't planned on taking another trip on this morning, but we woke up and after seeing the tape of what was happening here last night, we said we need to go out and take another look. There's debris on the street. Floodwaters were raging across the village here. This is downtown Church Street in Champlain. There's St. Mary's Church. This is the old Methodist church. We had some shots here early yesterday. This trailer was not sitting there in that spot yesterday. That trailer has been moved. Unfortunately, we didn't get a shot of it. We didn't think we wanted to shoot too many people's residences. We don't have a before and after shot to show you. You see hand tools strewn about. The smell of fuel oil is filling the air. Overnight in Champlain, the Chazy River raged through the downtown streets. We saw some brief shots 11 o'clock last night. In the dark, it was tough to get anything. My son was here taking some pictures. There's a trailer that's picked up and moved along with a boat and the porch. Water is still higher than it was yesterday. The barricade that was blocking it is long gone. This trailer had been situated back in this direction here. It's picked up and moved, and if this building and wall weren't here, they probably would have been moved even further. A lot of people out looking at the damage, surveying the damage. It's closing in on 8 o'clock in the morning. People are heading for 8 o'clock Mass at St. Mary's. The only reason I'm aware of the flooding that took place here last night is because my son came down and took those shots. Took several others that we just thought that weren't quite light enough to show on TV without somebody sitting there explaining them to you. We saw photos of this car half buried last night. You can see the destruction that was going on underneath it. Not sure who's in this home now. It was formerly, many years, the Picard home in Champlain. Some of the Barrier family surveying the damage. So the destruction that ripped Altona and Ellenburg yesterday hit Champlain today. And Suzanne Moore. These are scenes I think we all thought were reserved for places along the Mississippi River and so on. You can see the watermarks on the side of this building. Another building, I think this is owned by Donald Wayne Patterson of Montreal or somewhere in Canada. I think he owns it right now. Of course, it was the Frank Manette home for many, many years. Remember Frank Manette, one of our bootleggers. Water obviously was flowing through here. Not a good clip. Now alongside the, many years was the bakery, the Leo and Edna Anctil residence. Down where the old post office used to be many years ago. Well, not that many, I guess, before it moved to its location in the shopping center. About 20 years ago it moved. Gravel, silt from the left as the water receded. The Ronnie and Anna Gooley home. Always get hit in the spring. If the water was as high as it was up the road, we can only guess how high it was here. We're going to zoom in. It looks like from the discoloration it may have been up to the bottom of that window. And if that's the case, they've lost more than what they had in the basement. The former, actually, is still a site of Raymond Biddard's farm implements. It's had a devastating fire a year and a half ago, 2 years ago maybe. This is after the water receded. We saw how high it was at 11 p.m. It may have gotten even higher. There's the Perrier residence. And again, looking at the discoloration, it looks like about 4 panels from the water line now. But the water was at least that high at one point. You can see from the darkness on the side of the Anctil place how high the water was over there. John and Mark Anctil, a couple of the sons of Leo and Edna. Up to those windowsills, at least. We're talking with Lynn Hogle. She said she believes it crested what she heard around 10:30, 11 o'clock last night, so the footage we had there would indicate the high water mark. Unfortunately, as we said, it was in the dark. There's not much we could do about that. Still a lot of water. It's still on Cedar Street. The steps here in front of the Champlain outlet, former candy cupboard, have been washed away. Some pump, not much good in the bottom of a river. The old Falcons drugstore. Again, this will give you an idea of how high this water was downtown Champlain. There's the watermark. There are those vehicles. If they were there overnight, it's a wonder they're still there. One of the new businesses downtown Champlain, the video store, owned by Kevin Strack. Laundromat, Bob Lajemere. You see how high the water was from the darkness on the side of the building. Obvious destruction in air. Water still high here. This is the old Grand Union. One of the old Grand Unions. There are about 3 of them. You can see dramatically here how high the water was. There's where it is now, still very high. And darkness on the side of the doors and the bricks tells you it was at least 4 to 5 feet higher during the night. As we make our way down Main Street, we're once again getting the smell of fuel oil. Obviously, anybody who had fuel oil, the tanks emptied out. Barbershop. Sure there'll be damage to the floor in there. Another indication of how high the water was as we look at the wet wood in this stairway. There's the barber shop about 2 feet up the side of the door. Trees uprooted and floated around. I'm going to stand over here. I'd say we're looking at least 3.5 feet high at this point. Roger and Robin Janando, owners of the Robin's Nest. Workers have been working there all summer long looking to get it back in shape. This is across, up there is across from St. Mary's. One can only imagine what happened here with this truck. Our guess is that maybe someone tried to drive through, it stalled, it stayed there. water, and the auto parts store is that high. It looks like it would have been near the top of that roof on this truck at its peak. Obviously not when they were driving through it, or attempting to. Debris in Paquette Park. Cobblestones.
How high did it get last night, Calvin?
You have a fun time getting home? Kitty?
Looking at the old bank, the watermark, it looks like it was pretty close to the bottom of this bridge at its peak. Again, the telltale signs of the high water marks. As can be expected, River Street, especially the lower homes, suffering a extreme amount of damage. We'll take you along as we walk toward Cedar Street through the alley where Armstrong's garage used to be, where Mechanics Inn is now. That's how high the water was in this area. We would have to assume that these cars were here overnight. I don't see any tracks leading in. Mike Armstrong's computer store. Obviously anything within 3 feet from the floor got wet. Looks like a watermark right there, the center of your screen. That would have to be, looks like close to 5 feet high down on Cedar Street. Water still coming through here. I haven't heard, but I would imagine that it's possible that some of the sewage may have backflowed in different areas. Raymond Juneau residence. Not sure if that line there indicates a watermark or if that was there before. Definitely a few feet high alongside their porch. If it could float, or if it couldn't float. It got moved last night. Looks like the church might be letting out. We're talking with one of the residents here on Cedar Street, Trustee Kenneth Delafrange. What happened here, Ken?
Well, it was a most interesting and unusual evening here last night in Champlain. We had, I'd say, at least 2 feet of water steadily coming down Cedar Street right here. You can see that down there's the roof of somebody's building. A trailer down on the end of Cedar Street has been moved, I would estimate somewhere between 30 and 50 feet. You can see that there's pieces of trees in the middle of the road. There's trees with their roots and boles on Church Street over here. If we look down towards the other end of Cedar Street over here, you can see right over there where the water came up on my house, which is about a foot or so. We were lucky it didn't get onto the first floor. The water all the way down, most of these areas were submerged. This blue house over here, water is about 4 inches from going into the second level. Looking down towards Bob Armstrong's place, you can see alongside of the building about halfway up was full of water. That car was underwater. There must have been 10 cars that were underwater last night. Matter of fact, last night this car, we were able to watch the water rise on the windshield as the inside dome light was on, and slowly we got to watch that disappear. Just an enormous evening last night, without a doubt. There were barrels floating by, pieces of trees. There's a table saw lying in the middle of the road on Church Street. Really an unusual and amazing evening last night, but thank God it seems like no one's been hurt, and that's it.
My son was down there taking pictures around 10:30, 11 o'clock when it was at its crest probably. Any idea what time it started to recede?
We were here at 11:30, and it seems like right around 11:30, midnight, somewhere in there is when I think it crested.
Okay, thank you, Kenneth.
Sure.
Now down in the St. Mary's School parking lot, you saw the pictures here last night. Difficult to say here just how high that water may have gotten. I don't see anything that would give me an accurate water line. I see a possible water line right here, just below that meter, the electric meter.